Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller, and as chair of the board, I welcome you to this September 5th, 2023 regular meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our office coordinator, Erin Smith, will describe how our meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Erin.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. There are multiple ways to make public comment during today's board meeting, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. If you're here in person and would like to make public comment, please fill out the sign-in sheet now. If you're joining us virtually, we will ask you to raise your hand at the appropriate time in the agenda. If you're joining us virtually and are experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, submit a comment in the chat feature and our communications manager will help you troubleshoot. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be posted to wcroads.org in the next few days. There are printed copies of today's meeting agenda on the table near the front door and is also posted on our website. And now I'll turn it over to Chair Fuller.
Thank you, Erin. If you would, I will now call this meeting to order and ask Erin to call the roll.
Chair Barb Fuller.
Present.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
Here.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas is absent. Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Present.
And then Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Present.
And then the following directors are in attendance: Managing Director Cheryl Siddle, Director of Engineering and County Highway Engineer Matt Washtenaw, Director of Operations Adam Leip, and Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman.
Thank you, Erin. If you would please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Make a motion to approve the agenda. I support.
Thank you. Any changes? Amendments, deletions, additions? Seeing none, Erin, if you would please.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes, the agenda is approved as presented. We have two sets of minutes to approve today. May I have a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of August 15th, 2023 as presented on pages 5 through 13?
I so move.
Support. Any changes, additions, deletions? Seeing none, Erin, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The minutes of the regular board meeting of August 15th are accepted as presented. May I have a motion to accept the special meeting minutes of August 14 and 15 of 2023?
So move.
Support.
These minutes appear on pages 4 through 15. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, Erin, if you would please.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs,
Yes.
and Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The special meeting minutes of August 14 and 15 are accepted as presented. Next item on our agenda is public comment. This is the time set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board. Erin will explain how people may be recognized to offer comments. Erin?
Since this is a hybrid meeting with both in-person and virtual attendees, we will take turns between those attending in person and virtually. For virtual attendees, we have provided some instructions on the screen on how to participate and make public comment. If you're attending this meeting virtually and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand now. If you dialed into the meeting from your phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. Our communications manager will unmute virtual participants with raised hands one at a time and will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments. And then for our in-person attendees, we will start with those who have signed up on the sign-in sheet as you walked in. If you didn't sign in, you're still welcome to make comment. I'll notify you when it is your turn. At this time, I don't see any virtual hand raised, or do we have anyone that would like to make public comment in person?
Yes, please. So you can speak into the microphone so people who are tuned in virtually can hear you, and you are on camera as well. Please identify yourself if you would. All right, good to go.
Oh, great. Thank you. Madam Chair and Commissioners, good afternoon. My name is Andrew Shephers. I work for a company called Wholesome. We have a corporate office which is located south of here in Dundee. But we are the world's largest provider of building materials. Anywhere from cement and aggregates to roofing materials to insulation, anything you need to build any type of whether commercial space or residential home, we're involved in that business in some way, shape, or form. So want to take the opportunity to come and introduce ourselves, who we are and what we do. You know, we have a very large presence here in Michigan. One of our great sites is actually in Manchester, where we're providing road aggregate to all of you and for your projects here in the county, but providing other products all across the state. So we have a major cement manufacturing facility in Alpena, and we have close to a half a dozen or a dozen aggregate sites all across Michigan. So I've got some other colleagues here today too. They can give you a little more insight of the business and what we're doing here in the county. But we want to take the opportunity just to introduce ourselves, say hello, and we're proud to partner with you as you put your projects forward, and any way that we can be assistance, you know, we would love to continue to have that dialogue. So thank you for the opportunity today. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rob Hayes. I'm Regional Land Manager for Wholesome, same company with it. I work with Andrew. And I'm located in Dundee, Michigan, 6211 Ann Arbor Road. I just want to give you a brief update on where we're at with our newly formed Manchester Sand and Gravel Plant. We're located a few miles south of I-94 off of M52. If you remember the old farmer's pit, that occupies the east side. The side of the road that we're working on now is primarily on the west side. We lease the land from 52 Minerals. Don Beagle is here representing 52. We've been out there for the better part of a year getting things set up, and now we're ready to begin mining in earnest. On the east side, the old farmer's pit, where most of our efforts so far have been cleaning up the mess that was left, and it looks a lot better. A lot of the junk's gone. Grading's been done, and we're actually building settling ponds that'll serve for circulation of water for our wash plant. Wash plant will be set up on the west side where we've begun mining. A key feature of the west side pit is going to be a 30+ acre inland lake that'll be excavated once we get down to the water table. So we'll be left with a nice, beautiful feature once we're done mining mining the land and get the side slopes reclaimed. We supply on average per year about 100,000 tons of aggregates for county projects. So we're looking forward to continuing that relationship with you all. And we like where we're at in the county. It's a key strategic location for us. One thing to note is it's only from that location, it's 20 miles to downtown Ann Arbor, or about 15 miles to right here. One of our major competitors has an operation all the way in Moscow Township in Lenawee County. That's a good 55 miles to downtown Ann Arbor. So we see this location that we've got in Sharon Township, Washtenaw County, as being critical for us in supplying the needs for construction projects going forward. So thank you for having us, and we're glad to be part of the community. And I believe Don wants to say a few words too.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Hayes.
Good afternoon, Don Beagle. I represent 52 Minerals, the owner of the property. Our parent company is Osborne Industries, and we recently expanded our operation there to add the farmer east and west properties. We look at it as a good location and a good deposit. We are a road commission vendor and happy to be so, and thankful that we are. We, through our trucking company, deliver gravel, chip seal, and salt to the county. We'd like to continue that business arrangement, and we think that 52 Minerals is a good location to do that. And just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Beagle. Anyone else? Aaron? Tiffany? No. No? All right. That concludes our public comment session. Next item on our agenda, written communications, page 16 through 18. Anything commissioners want to draw our attention to? Seeing none, we'll move on to commissioner comment and staff follow-up to the public comment. Anybody have anything to say? I would just like to express the concern about gravel mining in general with respect to water tables. There are some problems in Ann Arbor Township right now that are allegedly connected with a gravel mining operation there. It is not the one that these three individuals represented, but there is a concern in general. And I'm well acquainted with the gravel pit that they described out there on M52. So my concern is impact on water table. Next item is new business, our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 1 through 17, pages 19 through 85.
I so move. Second.
Any discussion, any questions on any of the items in the consent agenda? Okay. Hearing none, Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joya McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
and Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, the consent agenda is approved as presented. We have one action item today. May I have a motion to approve action item number 1, to approve the good faith offer of just compensation to acquire a public road easement and temporary grading permit for the Miller Road at Zeeb Road roundabout project in Scioto Township. The background appears on pages 86 through 90. The motion is on page 45.
Madam Chair, that upon the recommendation of the Director of Engineering, County Highway Engineer, and concurrence of the Managing Director, the Board hereby approves the acquisition of a 2,031 square foot public road easement and a temporary grading permit, more particularly described in Exhibit A from the property owner. I believe that's Janet Yonso, located upon a parcel of property commonly known as the vacant southwest corner of Miller Road at Zeeb Road, Scioto Township, Michigan, with a corresponding tax identification number of H-08-16-100-007 in the amount of $3,100.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any questions about this action item? Pretty straightforward. All right. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Joya McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs,
Yes.
and Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, the one action item is approved as presented. Next on our agenda are the reports of our county commission liaison. First up, I believe both county commissioners are present. County Commissioners Caroline Sanders from District 4 and County Commissioner Crystal Light from District 2. Good afternoon, friends. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us today?
Good afternoon. I just would like to share that we have a scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting tomorrow, which is September 6th. It is also Commissioner Light's birthday. So send us best wishes that the meeting may not be too laborious and too long. So she might be able to enjoy a little bit of her time tomorrow. I don't really have anything to report to you, but I would like to publicly just give my appreciation for Director Siddle. I knew for a minute that she was going to be transitioning to another piece of her life towards the end of this year, but I see that it became official last month. And I just want to say that I appreciate being able to work with her. She was always extremely responsive. And if I can just blow a little smoke up your butts and say for a good reason, she was the first and only department to reach out to me when I won my election. And I thought that was very telling. Has always been very transparent. And so I appreciate that. I will miss being able to work with her, but I wish her best wishes in her next adventure. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanders.
Commissioner Light, do you have anything you'd like to share with us today?
Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings. I just wanted to say hello and thank you for all the work that you are doing. And I just look forward to the rest of our year.
Thank you, Commissioner Light. It's nice to have you here today. Moving
Glad to be here.
along, we have report of the road commissioners. We will start with Commissioner Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On August the 22nd, I attended the House Dems Caucus reception as a representative of the Roads Plus, and it was a very nice event.
Very good. Commissioner McCollum.
Yes, Madam Chair. On August 22nd, I attended a legislation support event in Ann Arbor. And on August 30th, I attended the chat with the Road Commission session. There were no public attendees. I viewed the virtual meeting on the safety improvements plan for 2024 on North Territorial Road and Dexter Town Hall Road and Dexter Township. And there were very good questions from the public. I viewed the public hearing meeting on the proposed designation for Natural Beauty Road for Warren Road between Nixon Road and Dixboro Road in Ann Arbor Township. And again, there were very good questions from the public. I really appreciate all the interest and concern. That is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McCollum. Commissioner Smers.
Last month, I attended the local roads advisory committee for Linden Township. I was looking for the date. I can't find the exact date, but I know it was not.
If you had a hard calendar, you could just flip
Yes.
pages and find
Yeah.
it.
But it probably, the way today is going, it'd be sitting on my desk.
Yeah, okay.
That's all.
That's it? Okay. I will report that on August 18th, it was my pleasure to sign the contract for Matt McDonnell as the next managing director of the Washtenaw County Road Commission. To execute that. We did that on time and according to plan, so that was very gratifying. On August 22nd, I too attended the House Democratic Caucus reception as representatives of Roads Plus. On August 23rd, I attended a community conversation with Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, convened at a private home in Manchester Township. And I would also like to commend our organization for their pre-planning and well-executed response to the severe thunderstorms and damaging winds that were experienced on August 24th. It was a wild night. Thanks for making everybody safe out there. Next up is our managing directors and staff reports with any Washtenaw County Road Commission updates. Staff reports appear on pages 91 through 99 of the packet. I'll turn this over to Cheryl.
Thank you, Chair. I'll start by asking if there's any questions about the information presented in the various reports.
I did not have any questions.
All right. I would assume they were thorough.
They always are.
Yes, we try to be if at all possible. The biggest thing that staff has been working on, myself included, has been in preparation for the request to the county board for renew and restore of the road and non-motorized millage. So our intent is for the working session 2 weeks from today to present an outline of ideally the type of schedule that staff would at least like to see for this endeavor. It's something that will come fast and furious, and we have really benefited, I believe, in the past from the level of community involvement, specifically involvement from the townships and seeking their support for the various projects that are presented within their areas. So we'd like to be able to do that and do that in a timely manner, but that also means we need to get going. So the intent of the working session is to present to this board, ideally what we would like to see that look like, receive feedback, and then hope to start moving forward with that. So if there's any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them now, but certainly expect to see more information in 2 weeks.
Is that the September 20th,
I believe it's the 19th.
the 19th? So they're meeting on Tuesdays?
This would be our working session with this board. Yes.
Okay, I misunderstood. Okay. Got it.
That will be in addition to, Chris and Josh will be presenting on the IT
IT.
update, which is already on the calendar.
All
correct?
right.
Yep.
Any questions for Cheryl?
Certainly more to come on
All
that
right.
subject. Well, let's see, first off today, then we have Adam Lape, our Director of Operations, to give you an update.
Good afternoon, Adam Lape, Director of Operations. Yes, thank you, Chair Fuller, for describing that. You kind of took the words out of my first sentence, describing our response.
Adam.
Great. Nope, that's perfectly fine. It needs to be heard by many people. So the recent rain and wind events, caused for a few long days for us. It came very quickly and went away, not as quick as we would like, but we made it through it. Our staff was responsive and they did perform exceptionally. And you really can't sum it up any other way, but thanks from me to them, so everybody can hear that. We did good. Mother Nature was a little ornery there in 3 hours while we were all trying to sleep. So a couple busy days, but we made it through it.
So what were the major trees, I assume?
Yeah, quite a few
More than
trees.
washouts?
Yeah, trees before washouts, and then washouts started building as the daylight came about, and we could actually kind of see what was under the water, so to speak, because it came so quickly. It normally skips the drains when it's going that fast.
Yeah.
Or the culverts or whatever structure we'd like it to get into. So kind of skipped that and just pooled in a lot of areas. And then once daylight came up, we started seeing washouts and then just started the repair process from there. And Tyler Road, drew the most attention because we had responsibility to it. Thankfully, mainly just focused on the road itself, so which is good, as opposed to the dam. So because initial calls are a little alarming when you hear related to a dam and washouts.
Yeah.
So we responded quickly and our foreman, Anthony Carver, was there pretty quick. Superintendents followed, then myself, and engineering department, drain commission, emergency operations center. A lot of people, real short order, came out there and we got everything kind of established, and now we're working on a fix. So dam is good and we are good to keep moving forward. So just got to repair the road.
Nobody hurt.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, we were very lucky with that. Enough people saw it at the right time. We had enough traffic control in the area and no one even drove through it. So it was good.
Okay.
Then a little more exciting news, the local road program, District 6 and District 4, they're actively spreading aggregate as we speak. But after today, we estimate about 20 or less working days before we'll finish up the aggregate spreading for the year. So it's been a good year. We had really good efficiency right out of the bat, right off the start of the season. So still capitalizing on those efficiencies, and we're almost there. And we've provided some opportunity to get some of these second and third agreements. So we might be able to spread a little bit more stone towards the end of the year. So we're excited for that. It's been nothing but the good scheduling from the superintendents and the foreman that really built that. Kind of gave that opportunity to the employees that are out there, like actually spreading the aggregate, the opportunity to be efficient and keep things moving quickly. So it's been a big lift from everybody. So we're proud of everybody for that. And then the material storage building, since we met previously, we finished all the footing. So all the foundation pour, that was finished about a week and a half ago. And then over the last few weeks, we've been getting the wall forms delivered and offloaded by a crane. The forms for the wall, the concrete will initially be placed in, they're pretty large. So they're large enough to be craned off the trucks. So It's going to be really exciting. That'll start getting erected and stood up. And once that's stood up, then we'll start seeing some of those forms be filled here in the next week or so. So we're making our way up now out of the ground. So we keep going.
So you're on track schedule wise.
I still think we had delays from the steel. I think we have delays waiting on the steel for the reinforcing steel for the concrete. So we had those delays and now we're just trying to play catch up and see where we land. Still should be fine. We'll be able to get material in it. Just probably behind when we thought we would finish at the end of October.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that a supply chain issue?
Yeah, the contractor just had to wait on that steel to show up. So that was a little unfortunate, but not lack of planning, just delayed us a bit. So contractors, you know, they're pretty reliable. They're here from daylight to dusk some days. So they're working as fast as they can. So trying to keep us on as close to the schedule as we can be.
So it didn't knock the whole schedule off track based on,
No, we just got stepped back. I think we'll see if we get to a final delay at the end of everything. You know, the roof and everything should go on without an issue. That's lumber. That's not hard to get. But the delay originally getting the steel, which is what slowed us on the forming up the concrete. So Dennis is working through that, managing that as best we can. All the other supplemental utilities, the electric, the drainage, the oil water separators for like the proper way to environmentally treat the water, so to speak, before it gets released back into the sewer system. All that was installed last week. So we're still checking boxes as we go. So we'll keep going. We'll get there.
all right,
We'll get salt out of there in no time.
before the snow flies,
Yes,
before
ma'am.
the ice hits.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So that's really all I had unless anybody had any other questions, update. I appreciate the compliments though. Our staff is amazing. They spent a lot of long hours and then our engineering department helped us as soon as things, you know, the water started subsiding. We needed a lot of help from a lot of the mines really quickly to get us set up for some things, especially Tyler Road, speaking specific to that. So just a thank you kind of all around. You know, everybody took time out of their extra day or days, extra time spent within that Thursday and Friday to really get things on track so we can be successful and get something as important as Tyler Road put back in the right place.
So
with the right
Tyler's
things.
open again?
No, we still
Oh, I was
building.
gonna
No,
say, that
no,
didn't look-
get it set. No, get it set. So we're at the right place in actually performing the proper repairs to the road itself. So just a lot of thank yous all around. It's been
Great.
impressive to see the mines working. So
All right.
that's all I had.
Any questions for Adam?
You.
Is that?
All right, thank you, Adam. Next up, we have Dan Ackerman, our Director of Finance and IT.
Good afternoon, Board. Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. We'll start by going to the last page of your board packet. We have the most recent Michigan Transportation Funds. Give everybody a moment. So the July of 2023 MTF was actually up 14% from July of 2022. And overall, we're about 7% higher from last year. So we're trending very, very well. Certainly not proposing any adjustments at this time, but we like the last few months. So, you know, we'll see what the next month brings. There's clearly no rhyme or reason to a lot of this, but especially as long as it's positive, we'll take it. So, yeah. So I am happy to report we received notification from MERS that the $4.5 million from the Protecting Michigan Pension Grant was received by MERS and deposited into the Road Commission's account. So I guess we can hopefully stop talking about this because it's kind of been an ongoing thing, but it's nice to see it finally to the finish line. So I was glad to get that news from MERS. I think the state of Michigan waited till probably one of the last days to send the money, but we did receive it. So it's great.
Great job staying on top of that, Dan. I
Yes.
know it was a bit of a fire drill.
It
to
was.
Fill out the application and chase it down and make sure they got it and
Right.
acknowledged it, and well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And certainly for that kind of money, we'll go through whatever hoops we need to secure those funds. So
Remind me what you requested initially,
I think it was 2.7.
Yeah.
So Adam's department has been extremely efficient with the township billings, and we actually sent 2 final township billings, which
Wow.
I'm going on 29 years here. I don't recall ever sending final billings this early. And I was definitely, are you sure we're done and everything else? And they guaranteed me yes. So so yeah, we've sent 2 out of the 20 final township billings. So and you know, why not? If everything has been complete, all the charges have gone through our system, you know, that's less we have to do at the end of the year. So
Right.
they've just been very efficient with the program. So
So why the increased efficiency? Is there any technological enhancants that have made that possible or? or
maybe Adam can
just
speak to
has a
that, but
whip
I
and a
don't know.
chair,
Yeah.
or how's this working?
Adam Leif, Director of Operations again. No whip in a chair, just really good teamwork, refining some of the processes,
Mm.
kind of involving the group right from the onset. So Dan's team is tied directly into the superintendents and Tiffany Lobestall, the operations clerk, and then bringing in the foreman usually once a month, once they start their projects. We started that. So we can just kind of double check job A, job B, job C, you know, where are you tracking? Are you done with it? Do you feel you're close to being finished? That also helps us figuring out where that efficiencies were that I made that note in my update to maybe get us further work later in the season. So these second and third agreements, we start seeing trends. Okay, we have money, we cheaper than we thought. So then we can re-engage with the township and get that supplemental work. But yeah, no force. It's really just a really good team. Nobody's doing anything different other than just doing it at the proper time throughout the year.
Did I hear you say things were coming in under budget?
Yeah, a lot of it is getting the aggregate. That's where we usually see our efficiencies.
Oh,
For example, if we estimate for 1,500 or 1,800 tons a day, so 1,800 tons per day, and a company could, if they get it to us 2,000 tons or 2,200 tons, that's a big efficiency because that's another half a day that we estimate for. So then that's a very quick savings. And so with that, then the townships reap that benefit because we have an opportunity to engage them again and see if we can do more work. So that's really where we see our benefits come through. Yeah. Our goal is to estimate properly and not really miss too much, but sometimes we're just flat out more efficient. The project doesn't need as much as what we estimated, whether it be earthwork or grading or preparation, forestry work, whatever it may be. Sometimes we see that efficiency, but most of the time it's if we can get the stone quick enough. If there isn't a traffic jam, isn't a road closure, we're kind of sometimes our own enemy. But that's usually the reason why is the efficiency of the delivered stone.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
and that we had a great meeting last week between finance and operations, just kind of, you know, talking about what issues we see. You know, again, I feel like there's been a lot of improvements made in the last several years with our township agreement program, just how job numbers are assigned and how, you know, we're closely scrutinizing our charges to make sure that they're accurate and complete. And, but it was nice to just, you know, sit down and talk, both finance and operations, and make sure we're on the same page, kind of understand where each other's coming from. And, you know, again, we've made some nice grounds, but you can always improve processes. So we have some ideas even for next year going forward, but you know, so far so good. So
That's great.
yeah. I don't remember the last time I shared our payments, our vendor payments as far as ACH and checks. But our ACH payments have been about 70%. So
That's up. I
70%
thought 60 was
ACH
the
and
last I heard.
30% checks. So I definitely want to acknowledge Jamie Kraus in finance, who is really spearheading this. She took over for Tracy Balkwell, who initiated the process, but we're sending letters to vendors, you know, please sign up for ACH. Every 2 weeks, I review the check registers with Jamie, and we look at whoever we're still sending checks to. And usually I'll say, well, what about this vendor? And she'll say, oh, I already reached out to them, or, you know, I sent them several notices. There's a few that are kind of refusing at this point, and we're going to start making a list of those, so I don't keep asking her every time. She'll have a list that I can refer to with vendors that said, no, we can't do ACH. But it's really moving along well. And, you know, again, the goal is 100%. Doubt if we'll get quite to 100%, but if we can get to 90 or 95%, I think that puts the organization in a good spot. So that's really progressing well. And then as far as IT, our 2023 computer refreshes are finished. So kudos to Josh on that. Did a great job. Chris Quinter, IT manager, finished the state of IT. And not only did he complete it, but he provided it to Erin. So it's nice to give her some things a little bit ahead of time. So and just a great presentation. So at our next meeting at the working session, Chris will talk a little bit about provide an overview for IT at the Road Commission and some of the more current projects we are working on and continue to work on, and then to kind of talk about the future as well, because certainly there's always projects involved with IT, but he did an excellent job and definitely asked lots of questions, and so really looking forward to that presentation.
Wait,
And-
he's finished his PowerPoint and turned it in 2 weeks ahead of time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Ah,
Yes.
Chris, you're showing off.
No, he's always good. He's very proactive, and
He just raised the bar for everybody.
I know, and I feel bad because a lot of times, like, my staff report may be a little bit tardy. I always try my best, but on times I get provided to Erin after her deadline, but she's always very gracious with that. So, but yeah, Chris is always very timely with any communications or with anything that's needed. So, and then speaking of projects, the OneDrive migration is an ongoing project that they continue to work on, and the goal is hopefully complete that by the end of the year.
Okay.
And that's my report, unless there's any questions.
One question, Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, please, Commissioner Green.
With that grant payment to MERS, does that help us reach our benchmark of 60% for pensions or no?
So again, that was a snapshot in time.
Mhm.
And it was determined to get us to 60%, we would need the $4.5 million. But certainly, and that what represents probably a couple of years ago. So from that time, the stock markets have been doing this. They continue to look at mortality tables. They look at, the Road Commission numbers. So there's so many factors that change. But that in theory is what is needed to keep us at that level, but we won't know until all the numbers are run. So they'll incorporate the 4.5 with our December 31, 2023 actuary that they do an annual actuary. So we'll see the true impact at that point in time. And, certainly the Road Commission, we make our monthly payments. We try to make an additional payment of upwards of $500,000. I think we want to continue to do those things as well to, try and get us closer to 100% at some point. I do know with the information we provide to the state of Michigan every year, and basically they find that we're underfunded for our pension, which they probably will again this year. I'm going to cite that as a reason why we're making headway on things, the $4.5 million. So I guess long answer to your question. We'll see what the true impact is on the December 31st, 2023 report from MERS.
And it sounds like they gave you more than we asked for.
Well, so
Is that unusual?
we weren't certain. Some of the instructions from the state was a little unclear. So we weren't sure if they are using the 2020 evaluation or 2021 based on some other reports that we provided.
Okay.
So actually I had some interactions with our auditors because I said, well, is it the 4.5, which I believe was the year prior's numbers?
Okay.
And even Plant Moran's like, no, we think it's the 2.7. But it ended up being the 4.5. Again, whatever they're willing to give us, we would certainly be willing to take. But there was some confusion on what that criteria was.
Okay.
So
And our budget includes an extra $500,000.
about 500,000, correct?
In addition to our
Monthly payments.
required monthly payments.
Correct. Yep.
So I understand why Dan does not give you a firm yes or no. In theory, yes, that should have taken us to the 60%, if not over that, because we requested based on our 2021 evaluation and we received funding based on our 2020 valuation at that point in time.
Right.
But MERS will run those numbers again for us at the end of this year to see where we truly are taking all of the factors and disclaimers that Dan just threw out there into consideration.
Right.
And we'll have that number next year.
It sounds like job well done.
Yes,
Thank you.
I appreciate it. It was frustrating at times, but you know, those type of things, it's worth pursuing and going through again, whatever hoops and red tape and confusion and, you know, deadlines with not everything to meet the deadlines being available. Anyway, so I'm glad, you know, until MERS said, yes, we received the money, I was going beyond that until, you know, and now I feel good about it, that they've communicated, they've received it, so.
Great.
Okay, anything else?
Is there anything we should be doing as commissioners? Do you know if our computers are all up to date? Are we behaving like we're supposed to with those kinds of?
Again, if
Check-ins
you're
and-
not, Chris will definitely let you know.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
and I've not heard anything from him, and I'm assuming you haven't heard anything from him, so consider everything all good.
Good news on
There you
that
go,
front?
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Quinter is very good about keeping all of us on track. So if we are misbehaving, he
yes.
usually firmly but gently tells us to do something different.
Right,
Yes.
that's right.
Great.
Great,
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions for Dan?
Right, and last but not least, we have Matt Washtenaw, our Director of Engineering.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Matt McDonnell, Director of Engineering. I wanted to first start out by thanking you for the selection of the next Managing Director. I look forward to working with Cheryl as she transitions to a well-deserved retirement and also working with you to continue our mission here. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
I did want to touch on the Tyler Road closure just a bit. It is, as Adam mentioned, it is a bridge, but also underneath the bridge is a dam. And the washout occurred adjacent to the dam / bridge. And we are assessing the damages to that roadway, on both sides of the bridge and dam. The majority of the major damage was on the east side. And we can touch on that maybe later this month, possibly at the working session. I'll talk with Cheryl. We may have a better update, but I wanted to provide that today because the road is closed. It will be closed for some time. We are working with a contractor to look at pricing. It's not as severe as like a Grove Road once was, where we're being essentially reacting to an emergent situation. That's really what we're doing here as well.
Stop. Was Grove Road the bank?
Yes,
Falling into the
correct,
lake?
right.
Okay.
We were
All right.
responding to the erosion on the bank, and that was wet weather going on.
Yeah.
This one was a particular storm event
Yeah.
where we saw just an unprecedented amount of rainfall in a very short period of time, which created a lot of in that area, there's a lot of impervious area, especially with the airport. We think a lot of that water made its way on the road and then made its way down to the low spot, which was the water course, where the dam was on the downstream side. And so our bridge engineer, Nate Murphy, met on scene during right after the storm the next day and worked with our operations department to make that determination to close the road. Subsequently, we've met with the Water Resource Commissioner's office because they are a responsible party for the dam. Anytime you deal with a dam, you have regulations, as you can imagine. We deal with Eagle. Eagle is the permitting authority for all dams in the state of Michigan, private or public. This one happens to be public. And so we may have to get permitting for the restoration because the road itself is part of the dam as well. So if you think the road structure could, in theory, it holds back the water if the water were to overtop and overwhelm the dam. So that road structure and all the embankment associated with it could be considered part of the dam. So we don't want to do anything where we're doing work and it's unpermitted. Eagle isn't in lockstep with us. So we want to make sure, number one, we've got the person that the agency that maintains the dam, which is the Water Resource Commissioner's Office, in lockstep with us. But then we also need to make sure Eagle is well aware and going to be able to permit what the work we're planning to do.
Bottom line, who pays for all this?
That's a great question. So
Are you gonna do a Dan and say, well, it depends on?
I'll do a little dance. So what ultimately it is the road needs to be put back if and reestablished. The problem is the cost of that repair.
Yeah.
So what we're getting to is essentially we've got a structurally deficient bridge. There's discussion long-term potentially that the Water Resource Commissioner's Office would like to modify what's there as far as a dam, even go as far as potentially dam removal. So that's a big ticket. We're talking millions of dollars, but that's long-term. In the short term, the question is, how much do we want to throw at a problem that we know is going to ultimately get removed? And so Tyler Road obviously is very closely linked and connects with Airport Drive. So right now the detour is very manageable. Ultimately, we don't see a lot of volume. Once upon a time when Will Run and all those all those manufacturing facilities were up and running, it was a much needed infrastructure. Today, that's a good question. I don't know that that infrastructure is relied upon as heavy. We obviously have Willow Run Airport we need to talk to. We have ACM, we have Ypsilanti Township. So there's a lot of factors that we need to consider. So we're getting pricing. We're also going to be reaching out to these folks, and then we'll be reporting back to this board. And basically walking through our options and kind of discuss, you know, where we think we should be going with this, what's before the problem before us. So more to come on that, but I just wanted to report on that because we did touch on it. And I didn't want to give you the impression, hey, we're going to open the road next week. That's not the case. This is going to be several weeks, if not months, and maybe a project in the spring if we were to move forward with anything.
So would this be similar to the dam removal in Dexter?
So there
Potentially.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's a great example. We don't do this very often.
Yeah.
As far as dam removal goes. There is a lot of reporting and permitting and studying, and it costs a lot of money to do something like this. And in that case, it came about as a joint collaboration effort with the city and the road commission. It took a lot of time and energy, a lot of planning, years of planning. If that were to be the case, the same would be true for working with the Water Resource Commissioner's Office. So to answer your question, yeah, that could be the ultimate conclusion that's reached. But we're really going to let the Water Resource Commissioner's Office lead that effort. We're there to support them because ultimately it's their dam to operate and maintain. And then we're a piece of it because the bridge and the road go over it.
More to come.
So we're
More to
really,
come.
yeah, we're very much, Matt and I and other staff have had multiple conversations on this right now. It's not going to be an easy fix. It's not going to be a cheap fix, no matter what that may be. And knowing that there's deficiencies that were pre-existing out there and hopefully longer term solutions, we want to make sure that whatever is recommended to this board makes the most sense. But we're really in that data collection mode right now.
Yeah, this is not a tens of thousands of dollars repair. It's a hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
So we need to be very thoughtful and mindful of how gets that spent, who spends it, and you know, make good decisions for all the stakeholders in the group.
What's the, I'm sorry, Commissioner
Oh,
McCollum.
go ahead.
What's the community engagement strategy around all of this? It sounds to me.
We've obviously let folks know of the closure and they understand the why. And then we're in the information gathering process right now. We're looking at estimates. We're also, and I failed to mention, what's out there right now is a dangling gas line that's leaky. DTE Gas is working on that right now to relocate that gas line. So that's the immediate, we can't do anything even if we wanted to because we've got a leaking gas line. So the gas line's got to get addressed. And then we've got to come up with a plan and see what dollars we're talking about restoration or what are the other alternatives. Once we come up with what are potential options or solutions, I think that's when we start that engagement process. But first, talking with our stakeholders in the township, the airport, ACM, and just understanding how the community depends on this infrastructure is, I think, the starting point. And then we'll probably have some public engagement.
Okay.
Once we come up with kind of a preferred alternative of options.
Commissioner McCollum.
Madam Chair, yes, I thought at one point the township was in ownership of the dam and they were going to have it removed. Did that change?
So the dam that they own is over at Bridge. So that's the dam that they own. They may have had some sort of relationship for this one. I don't know the history on this one.
There was a relationship.
But there was definitely a transfer to the Water Resource Commissioner's office. They are owners and operators of this dam and then one upstream of it as well.
Water
On the
Resources.
ACM property. I forget what the name of that
The
dam.
Buyer Dam,
Thank you.
Buyer Dam.
Thank you. Yeah, it's changed over
Okay.
time. And as things have redeveloped.
Yeah, because I know they were talking about removing
Mhm.
the dam, but since it's changed ownership.
Yeah, over the years, there's been various studies of the bridge, of the dam, whether to repair the dam, whether to remove the dam. There's been concerns from downstream property owners with respect to dam removals,
Yeah.
especially with what may or may not be in the soils in that area,
Yeah.
so. It has certainly been examined multiple times over the years. We just need to figure out, working with, as Matt said, all these various stakeholders, first of all, what are even the options moving forward, and then what makes the most sense, short-term and long-term.
Thank you. And as far as the detouring, I don't know if the challenge of that, I know that's not widely used. I don't know about the people working around there, how that's affecting them. I mean, I sort of take a shortcut through there, but I can still get around.
Right. Yeah, it's a fairly straightforward detour.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we do have enough infrastructure and road network
Yeah,
to support this during the closure. Even if it's going to be a little longer term closure. So more to come. I didn't want to belabor this, but I want to make you aware of it.
okay.
Are we getting any calls on this particular? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, I just, I'm always concerned, what's the company line, right? So we're all
Right.
singing the same.
Couple line right now is that we're evaluating. We're waiting for DTE Gas, and then we're gonna look at options and reach out to our stakeholders.
Community engagement to
Yep.
follow.
Yep, exactly. On a more positive note, we have so many good things to report as far as open to traffic. I'll just run through a quick list. Since our last board meeting, Parker Road culvert has been reopened to traffic. Bemis at Whitaker Road, the roundabout is open to traffic and it looks great. I drove it last Friday and they did an outstanding job at that intersection. Moorville Road, this was a township agreement that just got approved in July, is done, open to traffic. So another great coordination effort between operations and engineering. Each had different tasks to perform to get this project done. So nice example of coordination. The Huron River Drive between Clark and Dixboro over by the hospital and community college. If you haven't driven over there, that one is open to traffic and long line is striped. A few punch list items, but looks great. And then currently we are paving Carpenter Road top course. That one is between Textile and Ellsworth, the hot mix asphalt sections. So that is a 5-lane roadway, so big job. But we got the leveling course done last week and we're working on the top course this week. Obviously, weather dependent. There's a lot of weather in the forecast this week, so we'll see how much we can accomplish. The bridge preventative maintenance program is continuing to make good progress. We're over halfway. And then as far as plans for projects, still working on things like old US 12 culvert replacement south of I-94. That is gearing up. We are ran into a small snag where we're awaiting the railroad work on Francisco Road in our neighboring county. Unfortunately, that is on our detour route, and we wouldn't want to send people to a closed road on a detour route. So that we're waiting those tracks to approaches to get paved. Once they are paved, then we'll start scheduling our operations crew to remove and replace that culvert. But we are ready to go. I believe the culvert procurement is in hand, so we're just waiting for the green light to close the road.
Waiting on the railroad.
That is a theme at times. So
Construction, not permitting.
construction, not permitting. Yes, very good. We are waiting on the railroad for Huron River Drive pathway project here in Scioto Township. We are waiting for a bridge erection plan approval. The bridge did get delivered, so if you drive by, the prefabricated bridge in pieces has been delivered. Our project is on pause until we get that bridge erection plan. They are planning to come back and to work on some of the hot mix asphalt pathway yet this year, but the bridge plans yet to be determined when that work will start. I think that's all I have for my update. That was a lot. I apologize, but
Remind me what that bridge is that was disassembled and stored somewhere that
the
we're.
Bell Road. Bridge.
Yes.
So that truss bridge, which we
Is it still in cold storage?
we ultimately conveyed that to the county. And so they are working with the city of Dexter to potentially use that as a pathway bridge over the Mill Creek to connect to over by the city cemetery, where the boardwalk and some of the pathways are adjacent to the Mill Creek. So I've talked with County Parks about their alignment. They're working on that from basically the Parker intersection into town and then crossing the Mill Creek. They've working with property owners. I believe there's 3 property owners, Haley Mechanical and 2 others, where they've pretty much got buy-in. And so now it's just dotting the i's and crossing the t's on the actual easements. They'll start planning for design and construction.
One last question, if I
Sure.
may. Groundbreaking on a new housing development in Pittsfield Township, college.
So that is on Gulfside Road on the west. Didn't have a lot of involvement. There was a road improvement agreement for, I believe, Clark Road. So we had a little bit, but a lot of the infrastructure was already there. So there was driveways, and then we just had I believe a widening of the left turn lane, I believe on Clark Road, or they were going to pay for a chip seal, a seal coat. So that hasn't happened yet because the development, obviously, they just broke ground.
Yeah.
So we'll be following up with them when it's appropriate.
So there was a traffic impact study.
Yes,
and we
so
know
that
what's
went through our
coming
full
and-
permitting
Okay,
process. If that was the
okay.
question. Yeah, absolutely. We were very plugged in with them.
It's just a really busy area.
It is
Wise, especially when
number of
college is in.
it's one of the more dense areas as far as population and dwelling units.
A lot of apartments over
Yes,
there.
absolutely. The busing is very highly utilized there. So over the course of time, a lot of investments were non-motorized. We work cooperatively with both Ypsilanti and Pittsfield on Gulfside Road to establish non-motorized, so in crossings. So continue that effort there.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
That's it. That's it
Staff for reports.
All right. So at this time, may I have a motion to enter closed session under section 8E of the Open Meetings Act to receive an update on the condemnation proceeding for parcels 10, 11, and 12 for the Pontiac Trail at North Territorial Road project in Salem Township.
So move.
I support.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Aaron, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum,
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green,
Yes.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
And Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, we are now in closed session. All right. May I have a motion to return to open session?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Aaron, please.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green
Yes.
and Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes. We have returned to open session. I'd like us to note that our next meeting is on September 19th at 9 a.m. We have a working session with an IT update and an overview on the roads and non-motorized millage to renew and restore that millage. And then at 1 o'clock, we have our regular board meeting. Virtual chat sessions every Wednesday, noon to 1. Tomorrow, I'm on call, and on September 13th, Commissioner Smurs is on call. If there's no further business to come before the board, may I have motion to adjourn?
So move.
I support.
Aaron, please.
Commissioner Jeff Smurs.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green
Yes.
and Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.